My name is DOMINIC Kibaki, an activist and also a believer in Jasmine revolution. So, welcome to my show, which is called Let the People Be. Today, we are going to talk about the issue of radicalization in my country, Kenya, also in Africa, and in the whole world. So, what is radicalization? First, the M15, for them, they say radicalization is the process where the youths get to extremist behavior and then they enter to terrorist groups. But for me, I believe and say this, that radicalization is where people are given half truth, half lies. So, I live in Kenya. As you all know, the whole world were amazed and also terrified when we had an attack at Garissa University. So after 2 weeks, I was able to go there through the help of the government and IGAD and UNDP, and I was able to discuss with the Muslim youths there the issue that affected them and the reason why most of them they were joining the ranks of Al-Shabaab and ISIS and the rest of the extremist group. So in my show today, we are going to discuss the causes and also the mitigation of what to do. Also, we are going to give recommendation to the government, also to the whole world, to various organizations, being the church, the civil society, how we can be able to manage this issue. So, welcome again to the show. So, in this forum, once again, we are going to be speaking on the issue of radicalization, its causes, why we are having elite, the university students going to join the ranks of ISIS, why in Kenya we have people joining Al-Shabaab. And as I said earlier before, I have two of my friends who will help me to shape up this thing and to discuss this issue of radicalization. And they are going to introduce themselves.
Hello everyone, I'm Paul Kanja. I'm an activist too, Catholic by religion, and I'm also a student at Catholic University in Eastern Africa. Welcome to the show.
I'm Dennis Isika. I'm a teacher by profession. I've been greatly affected by the issue of radicalization and I found it good. I joined my friend Kibaki on his great show of Let the People Be to discuss this and shed more light on the issue of radicalization.
So who is to be blamed, the government or the youths? As we all know that most of us blame the youth because they say they're being radicals, then they go overseas, then they come back to their countries to carry out these attacks. So, is the issue of unpatriotism or nationalism have eroded to our youth? A study was done by Telegraph newspaper where they say the main reason why people were being radicalized was because of identity crisis in European countries. When you come here back at Africa, the main issue is unemployment. Is that saying that these are the two main issues? For me, I think identity crisis and unemployment, they are the leading factors to this issue of radicalization. But let me hear from my friend Paul Kanja his views on this issue. Kanja.
Yeah, there are a number of causes for radicalization. First of all, I'll begin by stating some are like unemployment, yes. There's also lack of equal distribution of resources in the country. There's also marginalization. There are a number of causes that can lead to people going into extreme groups. But youth are going to extreme groups because they want more money, more employment, and they are promised a lot of money. Yeah. So basically, that's what I can say about that. Being marginalized, lack of unequal distribution of resources leads to revolution from the communities, which are maybe mining is taking place at their place, but they are not benefiting directly from the mining. Yes.
Nice. So, as we heard from him, the government is to be blamed here because of their policies where they have marginalized the groups. So the youth there, they feel that no one loves them. It's not their country, it's not their government. So the best thing, when they're being radicalized, they say yes to it. Let us hear from Dennis Isika his views on these causes of radicalization. Welcome, Isika.
Thank you, Dominic. On the causes of radicalization, there are some points which come to my mind. I'm tempted to think that religion plays a very big part in radicalization. More so when our religious leaders don't give us the whole truth when it comes to religion. You find sometimes a certain leader, I don't want to attack any religion, but you find sometimes a certain leader, when he's giving out his sermon or talking to the congregation, that he doesn't give out the whole truth. He may tell some lies so that he can help or convince some of the leaders to join his evil cause. Also, another thing which is a great cause and leads to radicalization are government policies. There are policies which are there, more so, for example, in our Kenyan government, whereby people who have been in refugee camps are not allowed to get IDs. Is that right? Yeah. I've heard something we can talk about, but I've heard they have a lot of issues before they qualify to become a Kenyan citizen. So I think such a policy can make people to develop hatred towards that particular country, and then lead them to being radicalization and coming back to retaliate on that evil policy as per their thinking.
Oh, nice. So the issue of radical or preachers has come out very clearly, where we find that we have radical preachers, be it the sheikhs and the pastors, who take opportunity of the naiveness of the young soul and the young mind. Also, we have heard that the government on the issue of issuing the national IDs. Like I remember after the Garissa attack, I was fortunate enough, as I said earlier, to go there. And the youth there, they were really complaining because they were saying that to get a national ID, it could take them like 5 to 6 months. And yet we all know that a youth staying in a metropolitan area will take only 2 weeks to get the national ID. Also, I was thinking, my friends, another issue that I think is the issue of the government intervention. For example, when big countries like the United States, when they go to wars like Iraq, they kill their fathers, mothers, they tend to be more hostile, and they believe they have a cause to do a revenge on it. Paul, what's your view on that issue about foreign intervention? Like we know in Kenya, we're in Somalia, and we know most of the time Al-Shabaab keep on telling us withdraw your troops so that you can have peace, but it seems the government is very adamant not to remove those troops and all over the world. Yeah.
There are reasons for any government to go into any country. There are socio-political and economic reasons.
Yes.
Our reasons to be in Somalia are for peacekeeping missions, because in Somalia there are no minerals. What we are doing is we are protecting our country by going into Somalia, because the peace, the instability in Somalia is affecting our peace in Kenya. So basically, Somalia, we are not going for economic reason. We are not going there for political reason, because basically we don't have a government. We are not going there for any social reason. Our main agenda is peace, because the peace is affecting our country. For instance, in this year's budget, our tourism sector has gone down because of the attacks in Lamu, Mombasa, and the coastal areas. So our main agenda to go into Somalia was, first of all, the peace.
Dennis, there's the issue of, there's a perception among the youth that when you join these radical groups, you are paid a lot of money. I remember one was saying that to join Boko Haram, you are given like $300 per day. Do you think it's a factor for the youths to enter to this extremist group?
You see, Dominic, economic incentives and factors also play a big role in radicalization, more so in African countries, whereby we find most of the youths and also these guys in university, the rate of unemployment is so high, and to secure a job after college becomes are hustled. So most guys and the youth are easily convinced that if you join a terrorist organization, for example, the Al-Qaeda, the ISIS, the Al-Shabaabs, they are easy money. So when you join there, you are promised a lot of cash. So if you have not secured an employment, let's say after 2 years after college, it will not take a lot of convincing for you to join such a course, because at the end of the day, what people look for in the world is wealth. And if a person is offered a shortcut to wealth, chances are he will take the opportunity with both his hands. Thank you.
Maybe that's why we are finding a shift in terms of their recruitment. Nowadays they are targeting elite students. You find most of them, they are campus students. And also you find that they are targeting specific people from wealthy background. Like ISIS, we understand that is the Britain, Australia, Canada, they have the majority of them there. So maybe now we can go to the recommendation. If, let us just assume, just for for a minute, that you are the government. Let us assume that you are people with power. What recommendation would we give to the government, to these various organizations, so that we can mitigate this issue of people being recruited, being radicalized? What can we do? Paul, do you have any views or any solution to this menace of radicalization?
Radicalization, I would say, it's not a society thing at first. It's a personal thing. The mitigation we can have is integrity. By integrity, I mean being true to myself and being true to the other people. So if you have integrity in yourself, the issue of radicalization will be lesser. And the convincing power of the people, through being lowered to the radical groups with money, it will be lower, rather than when you are when you don't have integrity and you don't have a just society. Also, the government should create employment for the youth, and those who are in campus and go to school to get employment, they should have the notion that they should go to school to create employment, not to be employed. Basically that can be.
Nice. Dennis, in our discussion, we noticed that we have been giving all blame to the government, their policy, everything. What recommendation can we give to the government? What can the government do to maybe help in this issue of radicalization?
Assuming I was in power,
yes,
I would tackle radicalization. More so, I would discourage the issue of peer influence, whereby we know the identity is also a big issue, whereby a person can want to be identified, to be identified with a particular group which is radical in nature. Also, the thing, as my brother Paul said, the issue of creating employment and teaching those guys in universities that you are not here to get employed, you are here to create employment, to get out of the society and get out of university and become a meaningful member of the society. But all in all, what I would advocate for is love. Love for oneself and love for one another. When you love yourself, it means whatever you cannot do anything which will harm you as a person. So if you love a friend of yours, it means that you will not be able to convince that friend to be radicalized, to do bad things, to kill people, either for money or for other reasons. But when we have love towards each other, we'll be doing things which will be beneficial to each other and to the society in general. I would come up with a campaign advocating for love for each and everyone. Thank you, Dominic.
Okay, so interesting. For him, it will be more about creating awareness. And maybe my contribution, mostly in this issue, how to mitigate radicalization. For me, I believe in the issue of system, where as you know, the government, the issue of giving out IDs, the issue of immigration officers refusing people to enter or to be given valid documents, the issue of employment, the issue of marginalized group where we need to build infrastructures to them, we need to remove the resources from our towns back to the remote areas. Also on the issue of the way they have said employment. Also the issue of identity crisis, where nowadays they don't have any role models. They feel that they have been left alone. So the challenge now comes to the churches, to our parents, because it all starts with the family. The parent should know his son or his daughter well. Maybe just to conclude, I wish to give one more opportunity to my friends, just to make conclusive remarks on this issue of radicalization. So I'm going to start with Paul, so that he can make maybe his final submission on this topic.
Thank you. Basically, what I would say is that for me to join any radical group, there must something wrong that has been done to me. So I'm joining either for vengeance, because I'm revenging for my father's death, my brother's death, or something that was done to me. So for me to settle down and not join such a group, I have to have peace of mind. So my recommendation for the government is to start trauma centers to places that have been affected by such issues of terrorism, and at least guide them, and with time they will heal, and with time the issue of vengeance goes away and self-actualization comes in. So because when I'm hurt, I'm driven by vengeance and not even the economic or the monetary value that is being added to me, but I'm going back to revenge for the death of somebody who I used to love. There's also another thing. We are human beings. We are born to have ideological differences in our country. Whether I'm Christian or whether I'm Muslim, whether I'm a capitalism or a communism. This other thing is international community. When in your involvement in a country, you should not go in and pushing your ideas to them, whether they are Muslim, you want to push ideological issues to them, such they should be capitalists and such things. So, and then when any international community is going in because of mineral or economic issues, you should at least make sure that the community that the mining is taking place, they are benefiting fully. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And maybe I can give Dennis Sika a chance to say his conclusive remarks.
On me, I'll take a general approach in that the governments or the systems we have, they should be tolerant with each other, because I'm tempted to think that most acts of terrorism and the main aim of those radical organizations, usually they start in the political arenas.
Yeah.
So I'm tempted to think that the system, the governments that we have, they should be very, very cordial with the others, and know that people have different views and they should work together, not to start blaming each other, so that we can have a peaceful world, which will be my joy when I'll wake up one day and I find there is nowhere in the world where there is war. Thank you.
So the youths have spoken, and as my role model could say, Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you want to see. Now we are driving for that change to be in this world. Thank you for listening and watching our show. I was your host, Dominic Kibaki. Let us meet next week. And the show is Let the People Be. Thank you so much. Yeah.